guys, welcome to Office Blokes Reacts. I'm Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
I'm General Office Bloke Daz.
General Officer, do you mean General Manager?
Yeah.
We are the Office Blokes. We like to watch videos, react to them. Sometimes we don't react so much. Sometimes we drink beer, sometimes we don't.
Just depends.
What we never do is overreact.
Never overreact.
No,
that's true.
It's all original.
Yep.
No fake.
No fake.
Nothing fake here.
Sarcastic.
Apart from Mike's lips.
Yeah. Nice. So unnecessary. So we did one of this guy's videos. Could the US invade the UK? It was a fun video to watch.
It's all tongue in cheek,
debate on things like that. And a lot of people in the comments have said there's something like 6 American military bases in the UK.
Yeah.
So all they'd have to do, they wouldn't even have to bother with all that.
The US would never invade the UK.
No,
wouldn't happen. We all know that.
Something I really liked is
what if
in the comment section. There's been a lot of like, I don't know if we class ourselves as cousins or whatever, but there's been a lot of love from people saying we'd never invade you guys.
Exactly,
and even if we did, the Office Blokes would be
all
alright.
We'd be safe. We'd never invade you either. So.
Yeah, that's a fair point. What did we do in the revolution? Did we get, was it Boston or somewhere? Yeah, you're safe, guys, don't worry. So could the EU military conquer the UK?
No.
The EU is in the European Union, I guess, that we've just left.
That's what,
Is this going to be Brexit based?
Oh yeah, could be.
I am going to say no, but then
let's just play them at football.
Yeah, game of football.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
send all our. Is that the right word to use?
The only thing is the Second World War, before America got involved, was mostly Europe. I know there was sort of Japan and China and India. There was conflict over there and stuff as well. But originally it was us and Germany, Poland, and we weren't doing so well until America came in. So I don't know, but I think no. Yeah,
I think militarily though we've probably.
We've not got
it's different, and I think all the other European countries are different militarily as well, aren't they?
With France, though, we can sort of like just do that, like they're shitty, won't they? They'll be back in the box.
Yeah, got to worry about the Germans, though. I think they'd step up in this situation. We've got previous.
Welcome to another video, and huge thanks to our patrons who choose to support us. You've got another poll up over at our Patreon account, helping us choose one of our future videos. And now, could the EU military conquer the UK? This video will cover just that. Our usual rules also assume sudden hostilities. UK is island-based, of course. That helped it in the World War II, but this time the opponent is much, much stronger. If we assume EU is somehow completely united, its forces dwarf the British. And hey, we're talking about the fantasy war really, so a united EU is equally fantastical.
So that'd be Ireland as well though, wouldn't it?
Yep.
So we would be screwed straight away.
Technically it would be, yeah, but...
Because everyone just moves their troops to Ireland and then and we'd get it, us and Liverpool. But
that's one of those, again, that would probably never happen either though, would it?
No, it's all hypothetical, and it never would happen.
Yeah. No, but the Northern Irish would have a say in that. Southern Ireland invading Northern Ireland, we'd have bases in Northern Ireland.
I think,
which we have now.
I think Northern Ireland in that situation would secede to Ireland and become one united Ireland again. Personally, looking at the odds,
controversial.
It's a very. I know wars have been fought over that.
There's too many loyalists there.
Yeah, who knows?
UK's army is made up of several components. Its army reserve should really be counted as an active trained force, leading to 6.5 fewer troops than EU's force. Trained reservists are almost 9 times more numerous in EU than in the UK. When it comes to paramilitary, EU seemingly has a huge number of additional troops, but most of those are really police-grade trained personnel without proper equipment for offensive actions. The numbers are not everything. Their location matters, and most of EU's forces are scattered all around the continent. France alone couldn't do much, for example. So in order to attempt a successful crossing of the Channel, months would be needed to assemble various EU forces. But there are other fronts where the war would be fought other than the Channel. UK has many overseas territories or bases where it has troops. it couldn't possibly keep them in such a war against an opponent with a navy many times larger, though EU would be in no rush to go after those territories. Simply cutting them off from mainland would be enough for starters. UK would have its plate full trying to reinforce its other islands closer to home. Some of them are so close to the enemy that they would be impossible to keep. UK would lose some soldiers in the process, as most of those overseas territories are manned by active army troops. Over 11,000 soldiers, good deal of them ground troops, would thus be unavailable. But the biggest battle by far might be fought over Ireland. While UK has its Northern Ireland territory, the rest of the island of Ireland is part of EU. And being enemy territory, UK would be unlikely to simply let EU amass its forces there, as then its mainland could be threatened from a close distance, from two different directions. While a huge landing over the channel would require months of preparation, reinforcing a friendly territory like Ireland could be done much quicker, which is why UK would likely act fast. Ireland itself has only a small force, but starting British forces in neighboring Northern Ireland are even smaller. It's likely UK would take a few days to consolidate first. During that time, Royal Navy and Air Force would have the crucial task of not letting any quick reinforcement troops reach Ireland. Given how EU forces, France notwithstanding, are even farther away, that should be doable. Britain would hastily ready its airborne assault.
So it'd start off with the Battle of Ireland, really, wouldn't it? It'd be if we could take Ireland and unite it as part of us, then we'd be all right. But if the EU takes Ireland, they've got the jumping off point. It's over for us.
Yeah.
Pretty much, isn't it?
Yeah. Possibly.
Strategically, anyway.
Yeah. They'd just have to get troops and everything over to Ireland, though, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Where you still think it'd be easier for them to gather on the mainland of Spain and France and Scandinavia and come over from there, wouldn't you, really, rather than, 2 trips?
I think we'd have to secure the whole island, though. That'd be the only play, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, true.
Or booby trap it.
But it might be easier consolidating on the mainland.
The problem is when the Guinness gets cut off.
Ah, you see.
Can't drink anyway.
Oh, I'm going to struggle a bit, to be fair.
And its marines. It would use its helicopters and transport planes to quickly bring in more troops to Northern Ireland, and then try and take the whole island. Direct assault on Ireland could be held by almost 10,000 maneuver unit troops, by which point Britain would have more troops than the Republic of Ireland. Several days might be needed to assemble those troops. Commercial airliners and other planes would be bringing in additional Royal Army soldiers, with transport planes and cargo ships bringing in their vehicles. While Ireland could mobilize some of its population, its armed forces aren't really prepared to train or equip any sort of significant mobilized force. It would still take weeks to get any half-serious unit formed, and most of them would barely be armed properly. The British might encounter some issues in Northern Ireland with part of the population rising up, but with ever-increasing number of British troops arriving, it's unlikely such insurgents could do much. While some of the lakes would help the defenders, Ireland is fairly flat and accessible to large ground troop formations. With a huge British edge in situational awareness and air power, most of the Republic of Ireland might fall within weeks. The French and the Low Countries might complicate the matters if EU talks them into taking one for the team and going all in on Britain with their air forces right away, before other European air forces get rebased closer. That would tie up most of British air resources just for defense. Of course, that would also mean the French and Benelux would have to endure the biggest air force casualties of all EU air forces. The Shetland Islands would likely be taken by EU, possibly during the Ireland campaign, when most of the Royal Navy would be tied up making sure Europeans aren't sneaking up reinforcements to Ireland. While they lack comparable infrastructure and are relatively small, Shetland Islands would still provide the EU with a meaningful stepping stone from the north. As EU assembles its air forces closer to UK, utilizing numerous commercial airports, the air campaign could start properly. The sheer numbers going against UK would be impossible to defend against. With EU air defenses pooled, it's unlikely Britain could seriously threaten the European lands. UK SAM systems are tailored for tactical defense, and would be of little use against EU planes striking from medium altitudes. The cruise missile arsenals are also on European side, though it's an area where UK is unusually strong for its size. Europe does have some added guided ballistic missiles though. UK's strong suit are also aerial radar platforms and various special mission planes, though in sheer numbers they still fall behind EU. Europe would, however, have a decisive edge at monitoring the British and Irish shores, once most of the Royal Air Force is suppressed. With almost no ground-based area air defenses, it would be fairly easy for Europe to track the British forces and pick the least defended spots for attacks.
Missing one key point.
Go on.
It's the EU. By the time you come to a decision, we'd have took over.
We would have invaded them and
It'd be over.
I think the infighting,
Romania,
bureaucracy, and
correct.
This
He's not
is-
took that into consideration
yeah,
yet.
could you imagine that these days? I mean,
This is where we'd be like, boop, boop, boop. Is that America? Hi, mate.
Yeah, but it says you can't have alloys.
We've
That's
got-
one of the allies. That's-
Alloys.
Alloys. You can't have alloys. You can't have alloys on your tanks.
Yeah, true. But it brings up an interesting thing, and I googled this after the last one we did. They said there's no significant militia force, they'll say, in the UK, which there's not. There's no paramilitaries and stuff like that.
There is in Northern Ireland.
There is in Northern Ireland, yeah.
That's UK.
Mainland UK.
Okay.
But it made me Google, like growing up in the shooting community and stuff, how many guns actually are in the UK, privately owned. And shotguns, rifles, other firearms, everything all in, there's 3 million guns in the UK, which I think is quite a lot more than people would probably...
it's a hell of a lot
probably
more than
think-
I thought.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The problem we'd have
Definitely,
is
yeah.
there's not enough people trained to actually use those guns, which you can train people up in no time whatsoever, but there's a lot of
wow,
firearms.
I didn't realise there was that many. I must admit.
So we could have a dad's army, say, situation where there's 3 million people mobilised that are armed on our shores.
Looking at me for
Definitely
say
our
Dad's army.
innit?
rude.
Yeah.
UK would have some grasp on what's incoming and what's going on at European bases, due to their satellite fleet, but their numbers aren't suited for tactical tracking of forces once at sea. In the end, the UK would be forced to distribute their ground forces all around the country in order to prevent a landing, and yet that may not be enough. EU's amphibious landing fleet is fairly large when combined. The actual troop capacity shown is theoretical maximum. In reality, larger ships would carry half as many troops, but with heavier equipment and supplies. Smaller landing boats and craft, though, would be limited to more narrow crossings in the channel. When airborne assaults are added, it's very likely EU would be able to make beachheads at several places, though it would have to pick areas that aren't as important to the British, areas close enough for air support, and ones where British heavy vehicles would not be able to come that quickly. The British Army is somewhat lacking in heavy offensive hardware, complicating their ability to rush EU's beachheads where fairly lightly equipped units would oppose them. When the EU's recon edge is added, as well as advantage in aerial strikes and attack helicopters, those British armoured or artillery counterstrikes would be blunted further. Still, the south of England would likely see the greatest concentration of British units and heaviest losses for the EU. Eastern coast,
Typical.
That tank that's on fire is almost right on top of St Ives in Cornwall. I am not standing for that. No way. Not in a million years.
Yeah, I wonder why they protect the South first. It's like everything, and it's like now. South get all the protection.
Yeah.
That's because you get through all
big
the
soft asses.
That's because you get through them, and then you get to the north, and then they're really going to have trouble.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You tire them out down there, and then when they come up here,
likely be less defended, and EU would have better chances of establishing a foothold, and even assaulting Ireland would not be out of the question. British troop numbers would simply be too few to guard all the potential points, especially with added Irish coast to defend as well. Could the Royal Navy do much to stop all those landings? Probably not. The F-35s have not really done significant carrier ops training yet, as the air wing is scheduled to be completed next year. With the help of the land-based air forces, it would be a matter of time before UK vessels get hunted down. Also, it's unlikely Royal Navy subs would be any sort of a decisive factor thanks to the sheer number of anti-submarine platforms facing them. European assaults would be initially bloody, and some months would need to pass for the fleets and troops to be assembled and for air superiority to be achieved. but the British would slowly lose most of their heavy weapon systems through airstrikes and attrition. And eventually the steady additions of new beaches taken would solidify into whole fronts, and push into UK territory could commence, probably before 1 year passes. If the EU is somehow miraculously united in their effort, the proximity of the UK to European mainland and sheer numbers would eventually break the British. The eventual loss of all overseas territories would also be assured. Of course, many different scenarios could be made. For example, if only some of the EU countries attacked the British. France, Germany and Spain alone might be unlikely to succeed in such an invasion in a similar time frame. And remember, Binkov may talk about hypothetical wars, but only real peace can bring us all together.
This guy's great.
He's good, isn't he?
He's awesome. That's a really interesting one, especially when you see bombs hitting close to home and stuff like that. On
Not
his
one was
animation.
near us.
Yeah, it wasn't near
Kept them in
Manchester
Wales.
though. Yeah.
But no one there.
I'm going to disagree with the outcome there. I don't think they could.
You're being patriotic, that's why.
I think, being a small island with quite a dense population, I think the casualties on the EU side would be too high. Really,
The thing is,
realistically.
the problem is we've got a long coastline, haven't we? For a small island, it's a long coastline.
Yeah.
There's a lot of places that you can land. But it'd be an interesting one though.
I just
Definitely.
don't think, knowing sort of the British people, that we'd take too kindly to people in our back garden.
No,
if you
I
know what
mean, we put up a fight, put it that way.
I just don't
Without a
think. I
doubt.
think it'd be horrendous on both sides, and I don't think
Yeah.
anyone would win really. But I think it'd be a tough job for them.
Oh, absolutely. It certainly won't be easy. Won't be easy at all. But
I think we would never be able to agree in the EU.
No,
Yeah, I mean,
So
no,
it cancels it out straight away.
exactly.
Yeah.
Debating over it for years.
they'd,
won't we?
end, they'd end up doing things like, Turkey's been trying to get into the EU for a long time, but there's many reasons why they're not being allowed
Yeah.
and stuff, human rights and things like that. But Turkey actually manufacture a hell of a lot of firearms. Like a lot of the big companies have got their manufacturings over there. So the EU might say to Turkey, right, come on, you're in. Because you've got firearms manufacturing capabilities, which would piss off a lot of other European countries.
Yeah.
It's like the bureaucracy and stuff just couldn't work, could it?
Yeah. I mean, like I say, but it is all hypothetical, isn't it?
Yeah.
With certain rules in place, the biggest one being that no nukes are involved, which
Yeah.
is one of the reasons why it would be over and they wouldn't invade us.
But our nukes are in Scotland, and Scotland want to leave the UK and become part of the EU again. So if that happened...
They're on submarines as well, though, aren't they? So
True, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of the...
they're always all over the
what's it
world.
called? The nuclear triad?
That's a defence system.
That's a nuclear defence system,
Yeah.
isn't it? Yeah.
yeah.
Right, fair enough.
Anyway, we digress.
Yeah, interesting though. I like
Yeah,
that
it was
little.
good.
That's
Yeah.
kind of that's a pub debate. That's something me and my bro and my dad would talk about
yeah.
over too much beer. Yeah.
I'd wait till the foreigners joined first, then the debate, and then debate.
Yeah.
I'd wait till there was a French guy there and a German guy, and then we'd have the debate.
Yeah, well, yeah, true, true, yeah.
Will you invite me? I'd love to see that.
Then we debate it, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can keep your Stella.
I won't do that. I'll just
I'm
sit
going to
there.
be John Smith's.
I'll just sit there watching you.
We'd be stuck
That'd be
with
much more entertaining.
Carlin. Yeah, Carlin and John Smith.
Yeah, we'd be shitting. We'd be like, you know what, let's just call peace and we'll have the Stella back.
Do we not make Stella in the UK?
It's Belgian.
I know it's Belgium, but we make Heineken over here.
Yeah, it's brewed under
might-
license. It probably brewed under
yeah.
license, but I'm not sure if
Could-
Stella
could
is. I'm
be.
not sure.
Yeah,
So you
don't
can
know.
forget
Not
your
sure,
intellectual property, Belgians.
We'll
We're
brew it
keeping
over
Stella.
anyway.
We'll just go carry. Nice.
Yeah, anyway, hope you guys like that too.
Yep.
Hypothetically. And don't forget, like and subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.